Some houses become famous for their beauty. Others are remembered for the families who lived within them. But a few become known because history paused inside their walls. Because something happened that could never be fully explained. The small white house in Villisca is one of those places. For more than a century, its story has remained one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries, not because of ghosts, not because of legends, but because of questions. Questions that still have no certain answers. The summer of 1912 was much like many others in rural Iowa. The fields stretched toward the horizon. Families gathered after church. Neighbors knew one another by name. Life followed familiar routines. Children played in quiet streets. Evenings ended early. Doors were often left unlocked. Communities trusted one another. It was a different world. A slower world, one where danger seemed far away. The house belonged to the Moore family. Josiah Moore, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children lived there. They were respected members of the community, hardworking, friendly, ordinary. On the evening of June 9th, the family attended a church program celebrating Children's Day. Many neighbors saw them smiling, talking, walking home beneath the fading light of sunset. 2 young sisters, Ina and Lena Stillinger, accepted an invitation to spend the night at the Moore home. Nothing about the evening suggested that history was about to change forever. As darkness settled across Villisca, the town grew quiet. Oil lamps were extinguished. Windows were closed. Families climbed into bed. Outside, only the sounds of insects and the occasional breeze disturbed the silence. Somewhere during those peaceful hours, an unknown person entered the Moore house. No one knows exactly when. No one knows exactly how. The following morning, the house remained unusually still. Neighbors noticed that routine activities had not begun. The children failed to appear. Curtains remained drawn. Concern slowly grew. Eventually, a neighbor approached to investigate. What was discovered inside shocked the entire community. The Moore family and their 2 young guests had all lost their lives during the night. The peaceful town of Villisca was suddenly at the center of one of the most disturbing investigations in American history. Authorities arrived quickly. The home was examined. Witnesses were interviewed. The town struggled to understand what had happened. Yet from the very beginning, the investigation faced enormous challenges. Crime scene procedures in 1912 were very different from those used today. Curious neighbors entered the house before investigators had completed their work. People moved through rooms. Evidence may have been disturbed. Important clues were almost certainly lost. Without realizing it, the community had unintentionally made solving the mystery far more difficult. Investigators searched for motives. Was it robbery, personal revenge? A crime committed by someone known to the family? Nothing seemed to fit perfectly. Valuable items remained inside the home. There appeared to be no obvious explanation. The deeper detectives looked, the more confusing the case became. As weeks turned into months, suspects emerged. Some seemed plausible. Others appeared to be little more than rumors. One of the most discussed individuals was Frank Fernando Jones, a local businessman who reportedly had a business rivalry with Josiah Moore. Another suspect was William Mansfield, who was investigated because of possible connections to other crimes. Still another was Henry Lee Moore, a man whose surname, despite the coincidence, did not indicate a relationship to the victims. Each suspect attracted attention. Each theory generated headlines, yet none could be conclusively proven. Trials were held. Arguments were made. Witnesses testified. But certainty remained elusive. Evidence contradicted itself. Statements changed. Jurors struggled to reach clear conclusions. Eventually, no one was convicted. The mystery remained unsolved. As the years passed, the town slowly returned to everyday life. Children once again played in the streets. Businesses reopened. Harvests continued. Yet the memory of that summer never disappeared. The White House remained quiet. Still, a silent reminder of questions left unanswered. Decades later, historians returned to the case. Modern researchers examined old newspaper articles. Investigators reviewed surviving records. Writers proposed new theories. Some believed the truth had been overlooked. Others argued that too much evidence had disappeared for the mystery ever to be solved. Every generation seemed to discover another possibility. None discovered certainty. The Villisca story gradually became one of America's most famous unsolved crimes. Books were written. Documentaries were produced. Researchers visited the town. Some focused entirely upon the historical investigation. Others became interested in later reports of unusual experiences associated with the house. These paranormal claims remain matters of personal belief rather than established historical fact, but they added another layer to the home's already remarkable story. Today, the Villisca house still stands. Visitors walk through its modest rooms. The furniture reflects another era. The wooden floors creak softly beneath careful footsteps. Sunlight enters through simple windows. The building appears peaceful, almost ordinary. It is difficult to imagine that such a quiet place could hold such a powerful place in American history. Imagine standing inside the house just after sunset. The rooms are empty. The evening air is still. Outside, the sounds of rural Iowa drift gently across the fields. A clock ticks somewhere in the distance. You pause. Listen. The house remains silent. Not an uncomfortable silence. Just an old house settling into the night, yet knowing its history changes everything. Every creaking floorboard feels significant. Every shifting shadow seems to carry memory. You move slowly toward a window. Outside, fireflies rise above the grass. The town is peaceful. Exactly as it must have appeared on that June evening in 1912, nothing looks unusual. Nothing suggests that history could change in a single night. And perhaps that is the most unsettling part of the story. How ordinary everything seemed, until it wasn't. The mystery of Villisca has endured for more than 100 years, not because people enjoy unanswered questions, but because they hope that one day those questions might finally receive answers. Who entered the house? Why? And how did they leave without ever being conclusively identified? History remains silent. The little white house still watches over the quiet streets of Villisca. The seasons continue to change. Snow falls in winter. Corn grows in summer. Children laugh in nearby neighborhoods. Life moves forward. Yet the mystery remains where it has always been. Inside history. Inside memory. Waiting. Patiently for the answer that has never come.